It's a sad day for CTESPN. It's a very sad day. Antonio Brown is wanted for attempted murder. He's in custody, I believe, right?
Yeah, he's got a $10,000 bond he can post.
Crazy stuff. Now, Graham, before we even really dive into the story, how much has CTE impacted Antonio Brown? Like, he does it up on Twitter. We know, like, he was just getting with Gavin Newsom's wife a day ago. Like, he is a Twitter troll, elite Twitter person. But, like, he really plays in that CTE narrative. And I don't get me wrong. I think this man is concussed like crazy. But does he play up the CTE? I'm not saying he could go play football tomorrow, but just like as a functioning adult, do you think he plays it up?
So I'm going to give you an interesting angle here. I just finished watching the Netflix documentary on the Ocean Gate, the submersible that went down and blew up with the tourists in it. It happened like a year and a half ago. I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. It's an interesting doc. If you want to check it out, it's on Netflix. Go ahead. One of the things that they had said was that the CEO of this company, he couldn't identify himself. His name was Stockton. He couldn't identify himself as Stockton. He identified himself as Ocean Gate, his company. And when I think about some of the successful people that I've known, a lot of them are narcissists, which is why they're so successful, because they have such a strong belief in themselves. But they start to identify themselves with their company or with their product, with their brand. They forget that they are who they are. I think Antonio Brown absolutely had CTE or something going on with him. And then I think he normalized it in such a way to himself that he started to embrace it. And this is how in 5-7 years you go from a first ballot Hall of Famer guy to now being wanted on attempted murder, to trolling Gavin Newsom about being with his wife. It seems like a crazy spiral, but at the same time, if he embraces it and he normalizes it for himself, then it kind of makes sense how it happens.
How many people do you think he has working on his Twitter? It's not, there's no chance it's just him. Like, he has a team behind him.
Yeah, I would say he's got at least 2 to 3 people on there probably. It's not, I don't even know if he's tweeting at all on there.
No, I mean, he does have an elite Twitter game. Elite Twitter game. Not an elite sniper game, though.
I would like to read the hiring brief. Like, where did he post that and what was the job description?
I probably found some buddies on the internet. But anyways, Ride the Line is the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. We know that. We are presented by WSN, guys. Make sure you go check out WSN.com for all your sports betting promos, picks, all that good stuff. That is linked in the description below. And also subscribe to the show. Just hit 200 subs. We're going up. We're going freaking moon. So make sure you get on the moon with us. Get on the rocket ship to the moon, because we're going there.
Yeah, 100%. Like Tanner said, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well, because it does help us out. And if you're into sports betting, there's some great stuff going on. The NBA Finals, which we're going to talk about, Stanley Cup Finals, which we're going to talk about, and WSN.com is the place to be if you're into sports betting. You can get game previews, promo codes for sports books, get you some bonus bets, stuff like that. Go check it out.
Yeah, I mean, pending we get a Thunder win, both series are going to be 2-2. We got a lot to talk about there. So make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a moment of Ride the Line. But Antonio Brown is wanted for attempted murder, $10,000 bond right now. He has to remain under house arrest pending the trial. Grant, you kind of had the story in your head of how this played out. We're trying to piece it together. But it led to a fight. Like, it wasn't just him pulling out a firearm. It was like he was getting beat up, and then it led to the firearm.
So there was a video that went viral on Twitter when this happened, which I believe was a month, 2 months or so ago. And the video kind of picks up in what looks like is the middle or maybe even the end of a scuffle. And it looks like Antonio Brown is getting jumped by like 6-7 guys. And he's kind of retreating, but still throwing punches. And then everybody just splits up. I think there are gunshots in the video, and everybody just splits up and runs away. It looks like the altercation happened almost by a loading dock. And then everybody kind of funnels out towards the street and they go their separate ways, and the video ends. From what we're kind of getting from these details, and this could be totally wrong because we're just trying to piece things together, it seems as if maybe that after they split, once Antonio Brown and his crew realized they were safe, they then went back looking for trouble, and that's when the attempted murder sort of happened. Or maybe the gunshots were before the video even started. That led to Antonio Brown getting rushed by everybody, and then that's when the altercation broke out. It's probably one of those two outcomes. Don't know which one it was. But yeah, this is serious stuff. I mean, attempted murder is not it's not a light charge, and we know for a fact some sort of confrontation happened because we have video evidence of it. I'm sure the full video is out there somewhere. I don't think it's been released to the public yet, but it probably will be when this trial begins, or even before then.
I'm reading that police detectives reportedly obtained footage of what appears to be Brown punching another man before taking the gun of a security officer and running towards the man Brown had punched. So it seems like, if I'm piecing this together based on the articles, it seems like Brown gets attacked, whatever. Brown fights back. Brown punches the man. Then Brown goes to take the firearm from the security officer, which is mind-blowing to me. The fact that there's a security guard out there in reach of Brown, like that Brown could take his gun and like nothing was done.
So if it first of all, this all happened at an Adin Ross boxing event, which I'm going to guess did not have the best security presence in the world, probably hired a couple of guys. And when this brawl where there's like 15 or 20 of them, if there's just one cop, he's got so much to worry about that he shouldn't let it happen. But I can see a world if he's actually getting up there, getting in the mix, trying to separate everybody. You can't keep track of 20 guys when they're circling around you.
Yeah, I guess that is a good point. Like, you can't just, if guys are just beating the shit out of each other in like a trash can or a dumpster, you can't just pull your gun out and be like, freeze. Like, you got to try to go in there and like physically separate them. And AB was like, ooh, gun, let me go take that. And luckily nobody was killed. Apparently the bullet grazed the back of the man who AB shot at. It's going to be interesting what happens here, but if Brown was attacked, I mean, he probably has no right to shoot the man if he was attacked, especially after the fight, wore down a little bit. But if he was provoked, I don't know if this is as severe of a punishment as it's just like an unsolicited, I'm trying to kill you.
Yeah, so this is according to Yahoo Sports. The author is Carrie Anderson. And she says, per the warrant, an off-duty officer working security at the event told police that he saw Brown involved in a physical altercation with a man. Witnesses told police that Brown was the shooter. Brown did not have a weapon on him when he was patted down, but police found 2 shell casings and an empty gun holster. In a post on X the next day, Brown claimed that he had been jumped by people trying to steal his jewelry. Brown was led away by police in handcuffs. He said he was just being detained to share his account with the police and that he was not arrested. And he returned to the boxing event, after being released.
Yeah. So interesting. I don't know what's going to happen here. It doesn't, like, it's serious, don't get me wrong, but like reading the articles, it's kind of downplaying the severity of it, I think, just because we don't know. And like the fight that led to, like, it's not like, hey, I'm planning a hit on this guy, and it was like fight led to gunfire. And again, very serious, but the articles are kind of playing it down like that. Would you agree?
Yeah, and when there's a situation like this, I think, the fact they detained him, took his statement, then he was allowed to go back, and he has a bond, which means he's out, but he's on house arrest, but he's not sitting in jail. It seems to me as if it's obvious that something happened. There's a long evidence gathering process going on there. It's a lot of he said, she said, and they're trying to sort all of that out. There's not immediate action that is obviously available. And that's probably why they are downplaying it to a certain extent. Also, in this article I'm reading, it says that Brown ran toward him with the gun and shot at him twice, potentially grazing his neck. That doesn't say it did graze his, it didn't say it did hit him. It says potentially. So I think there's just a lot of unknowns up in the air right now that are taking a while to sort out.
There's no chance a bullet potentially grazes your neck. It either hits your neck or it doesn't hit your neck.
Well, yeah, so I agree with you there, but I think they mean, can you prove that it did? And again, this is not, I don't want to say conspiracy theorist, but this is just me thinking. Let's say grazed his neck. Guy's bleeding a little bit, but it's grazed. It's not full impact, so he's okay. Doesn't need to go to the hospital. And maybe this man had used some substances earlier in that day, or maybe he had an illegal firearm with him, or something that would prevent you from calling the police or calling an emergency response team and just slapping a Band-Aid on it. And then a month later, here come investigators like, hey, what happened that night? and you say, oh, well, he shot me, but there's no documented evidence of that happening.
Yeah. Also, too, it could be like, we need to prove that he wasn't just shooting in the sky to like scare me off.
Yeah.
But also, too, that's interesting in the sense of, all right, say AB gets beaten down in the dumpster, and then he's like, you know what? F this, throws a punch back, gets the gun, and starts shooting in the sky. Like if the other dude started the fight, does AB have the right to whip out the gun?
So that's an interesting question, because there's somebody that I've crossed paths with before here in Virginia, and people came onto their property. I'm trying not to say too much incriminating stuff here.
Oh, property's fine. You can pop somebody when you get on your property,
Well,
can't you?
so this is the story that I've been told. They came onto their property, a fight ensued. I believe someone was even thrown through a house window at one point. This person fired the gun straight up into the air as a warning shot, and then they had to go to trial, and there was this whole thing about apparently warning shots are not something you can just do in Virginia. And I don't know if that differs state to state, but it's still considered reckless use of a firearm, because there could be other people in the area. There could be, there could be a plane above you. Yeah, I don't know exactly why, but I just know from what I was told about this case that wasn't open and shut. They didn't just say, oh, we understand you were trying to scare them off.
State by state. I imagine, was this in Florida? I feel like Adin Ross is a Florida guy. Maybe not.
He lives in Florida. I don't know that the event was there. I'll see if I can find that.
Yeah, that would be what I'm curious about here. Like, say this was AB gets attacked, then AB fights back. Now, definitely whipping a gun off a security officer is going to be a problem. Like, we're going to get there's going to be something for that. But
it happened in Miami.
Miami. Okay, so Florida's a state where it's like self-defense.
Yeah,
but I don't think you can probably whip a gun off the officer.
Another element to this is, so there was a scuffle. Let's say the order of events is scuffle, shots. If Antonio Brown is getting jumped and he pulls the gun out and shoots, there's a clear argument of self-defense. I don't know that he would win it. I'm just saying you can follow the train of logic there. If Antonio Brown throws the first punch, whoever he punched at has, people with him, 6, 7 of them fight back. Now Antonio Brown's getting beat up by 7 guys, and then he shoots at them. If he started the fight, is that still considered self-defense? I don't know. I'm not a legal expert.
Now, it also helps too, I think, like going back thinking about this, him whipping the gun off of the security officer, I think actually helps him in a way, because if he had a gun in his pocket that wasn't registered to him and he didn't have a concealed carry license, like that probably is worse if he whips out that gun rather than grabbing the gun in self-defense, because you can make the case, well, he grabbed the gun in self-defense. Not saying there's not going to be some sort of punishment there, but if he just whipped out a gun that wasn't registered to him, that would have been a problem.
And even if it was registered to him, the defense could make the argument, why do you take a gun out of the house? Because you're planning on using it, right?
Yeah.
In this situation, if it was, he just he reached over, he's in trouble, he reaches over, grabs it, and shoots. It's completely unplanned. It's spur of the moment thinking.
Yeah, and from what I'm reading, though, it seems like fight breaks out, fight kind of ends, then AB like restarts fight. So I don't know. We'll see. It pretty interesting stuff. This was a big story when it hit last night. It was in line with it happened right before the Stanley Cup, I think.
You think he took off his jersey and started like waving it around like he did in that last Bucks game?
It's so sad with AB because like he could have been the guy. Like he could have been something. I mean, he was something.
If we're being honest, Antonio Brown's probably a top 3 receiver in NFL history.
I mean, not with the way it ended, but like talent-wise, probably.
I mean, what he did during that 6-7 year stretch, that was, I don't know that you can say he wasn't top 5. Like that's the worst case scenario, I think, was him being top 5 in NFL history.
Is he going to be a Hall of Famer?
This is the thing. The Hall of Fame committee, I was actually just thinking about that. The Hall of Fame committee is selective with what they choose to allow and what they choose to ignore. I'm probably if this materializes into something like the way everything had gone up to this point would have been it wasn't what anybody wanted, but I think he still would have gotten in. If he goes to jail for attempted murder, they'll probably hold him out.
AB won a Super Bowl with the Bucks, right?
With the Bucks, and did he win one with the Steelers?
2010 to let me see.
I feel like he's been out of the league so long, even though he was just recently there. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, he won one with the Steelers.
So he won one with the Bucks too. I remember him winning.
Oh no, I'm sorry, he didn't. He was drafted the year after they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he just missed it, but he won one with Tampa Bay Buccaneers for sure in 2020, which was
that was Brady's first year. Yep.
Yeah, 2020, which would have been 2021, and then he went crazy in 2021 season.
I mean, listen to these numbers from 2013 to 2018. He is 110 catches, 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns. 129 catches, 1,700 yards, 13 touchdowns. 136 for 1,810. 106 for 1,312. 100 for 1,509. 104 for 1,315.
He could be a first ballot Hall of Famer, honestly. Like he has the talent. I don't know if the post career has hurt him, but it definitely has. He could be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
His prime, his peak was up there with some of the greatest peaks in NFL history.
So he's got to go to the Hall of Fame. I don't think you can punish people like unless they're convicted felon, killer, which he very well could be at this point. But you can't punish him for the Twitter game. You can't punish him for how it ended, like him running off the field at MetLife.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it all comes down to if he goes to jail for attempted murder, I think he's not going to get in. If he's fine, then I think they'll let him in.
Now, speaking of attempted murder, Shemar Stewart, his career. The Bengals are trying to murder his career.
That's a great segue. That was awesome.
The Bengals are trying to murder Shemar Stewart's career by sticking language in his contract where if he got hurt in the preseason, it would void all the guaranteed money. And on top of that, it has never been put in a rookie contract for a first-round pick. So I don't understand this. I don't understand why they're doing it, but would it be like career-ending injury in preseason? It wouldn't just be like, hey, I stubbed my toe and I can't play in the last 2 games. That's the one thing I'm unclear on.
No, so it's actually much more than that too. It actually it could be injury, but it also could be things like team violations, conduct issues, conditioning, sports betting penalties. Any of that stuff would not only wipe away the guaranteed money that year, which is normal in contracts, it would wipe away all of his guaranteed money for the rest of his contract, which would be for a first round rookie would be 5 years. So if he wore the wrong, I could be getting the details of this wrong, but if he placed a bet on an NBA game from the Bengals facility, gets suspended for 4 games, that would void all of the guaranteed money in his entire contract. And it's never happened before. Amarius Mims, who the Bengals drafted in the first round last year, did not have this clause in his contract. They're basically, Shemar Stewart's like the guinea pig. That's what they're trying to do to him. And he refused to sign the contract, refused to participate in everything. He showed up to mandatory minicamp, but just sat on the sideline and didn't actually participate. And then I think on Wednesday, either Wednesday or Thursday, he just skipped town. He said, screw this. Like, there's no point in me being here. I have a direct quote from him here, which says, I'm 100% right. It should be a no-brainer. In Trey's case, it should be a no-brainer too. I'm not asking for nothing y'all haven't done or y'all have never done before, but the Bengals just want to win arguments more than they want to win games, in my opinion.
I'm surprised that the Players Association isn't really pushing this one to the forefront of the media cycle. This seems like this is ultimate. If this goes through, teams are going to win by a lot. And it sucks too for Shemar Stewart. He's just the poster child of this, and he doesn't get his guaranteed money, and he hasn't got that yet. Now, if he got or say he got injured in his 3rd season, that'd be fine. He'd be good at that point. He needs to get through his first preseason. without breaking the rules? Like once week 1 starts, the guaranteed money's there.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so it's the first preseason. I get that. Like I don't get what the team's doing if no one's ever done it before, but I think it's hard for him too because like the team knows they're in the position of power. Same thing with Trey Hendrickson. Like the Bengals are in the position of power because when you look at Hendrickson, he's early 30s. He's getting up there. You don't want to re-sign him. He's under contract for you. He has to play for you this season, and then after that, you don't want him anymore. So like I understand that. Shemar Stewart, like he was drafted to be the filler for Trey Hendrickson. So I'm confused why you are doing this right now, especially in the situation you're under with Trey Hendrickson. But good for Shemar Stewart.
Yeah, I agree. Good for Shemar Stewart. And this is kind of like the smoking gun in all of it. There was a reporter who asked him, what's it been like dealing with your new teammates, trying to forge relationships while this is going on, whatever the question was. And he said, this would have been a lot harder had the star players in this locker room not told me I'm doing the right thing. To me, the two big names I think of are Trey Hendrickson, who's going through something similar, and Ja'Marr Chase, because Ja'Marr Chase, held out. He took the $50 million insurance policy out on his legs, out on his himself, which I'd never seen before, at least not something for that much money. I don't know that he's directly talking about Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow, I don't think Joe doesn't like overstep the line. Not that Shemar Stewart is not within his rights to do what he's doing, but every chance he's gotten, Joe Burrow has said, hey, we need to pay Trey. He is crucial to our team. We need him here. Hey, we need to pay T and we need to pay Ja'Marr. So maybe there's a chance it is Joe Burrow. And if it is, I know he just signed that contract recently, but like he's got to be looking around, gauging the temperature of everything. Like, okay, so let me get this straight. So we have this all-pro edge rusher who had 17 and a half sacks in back-to-back years, Trey Hendrickson. We don't want to pay him, so we're going to draft his replacement, Shemar Stewart. But then we're not going to give him a contract that he agrees to. Meanwhile, if I hadn't gone to the podium and gone to bat for Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins, they were for sure going to trade T. Higgins. Ja'Marr Chase might not have gotten his $40 million. Maybe they're going to get rid of him. Joe Burrow's got to be looking at this as a guy who went to the Super Bowl in his second year, a Heisman winner, perennial MVP candidate. He has to be looking at this and thinking to himself, I've got to get out of here while I still can.
Well, I think if he requested a trade, then it would get crazy. I don't want to be here.
Let's say we're 2 to 3 years down the line and he's got 1 year left on his contract and the Bengals front office is still acting in this manner. It would not surprise me one bit if he said, try to trade me if you want. I'm just going to free agency. I'm not coming back here.
But the Bengals, so 25, so 1, 2, 3. I mean, he's under contract with them until his age 33 season. That's going to, at that point, it's a little, he's got to win the next few years. He got potential out in 2028, so he can opt out there. I don't know if it's a team side or him, but like they got Burrow by the balls too. I think the bottom line with the Bengals is that they are smart in how they go about business. They're very smart with it because, like, going back to Trey Hendrickson, the Bengals don't need Trey Hendrickson. The man is a early 30s pass rusher. They don't need to sign him to a long deal because they could get a new guy and they still have him for a year. Shemar Stewart, like as much as it's going to suck for Shemar Stewart to be the guinea pig of this clause in the contract, when you look at it, if he has to sit out 2 years, which we're going to talk about, if he can't get drafted till next year and have to sit out, that's 2 years off his NFL lifespan. And you know what? He might not be a first-round pick next year. You just don't know. The man didn't produce in college, and now we got this, and then you're going to have to not get him. You can't use him for 2 years. Like, he might not be a first-round pick. He might be a fourth-round pick or a fifth-round pick. We don't know. And then to top it off, when you look at Joe Burrow, like not being happy there, well, you got Ja'Marr Chase, you got T. Higgins. He can't leave them. You know, he can't stand up and say, I want to trade and then leave them. He can't do that. You know, as far as running an offense, Joe Burrow probably has a lot of fun. And then he can't leave his buddies too, which those are his buddies. So it's a really smart situation, I think, by the Bengals in a way. It's not right, but like the Bengals have everybody by the balls there. If Burrow wants to request trade, they ain't going to request trade. If he does, they're going to get a lot for him. And they know he's not going to leave Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins.
Yeah, so here's something I just thought of, which I don't know the answer to. I would assume not, but do the Bengals have the ability to trade Shemar Stewart right now? I would think no, if he's not contracted to them.
Yeah, it's not under contract.
Yeah, because I was thinking maybe they're just like, whatever, we don't want to deal with him. We'll trade him for whatever. Give us back 2 seconds or a second and a fourth because he was a first round pick, whatever the equivalent is. But I don't think they can do that because he doesn't belong to them.
It's such a hard situation too for him because even if they get the contract sorted out, and I know it's a business, so you got to kind of put these feelings aside. Like Zach Taylor is not involved in this discussion. You know, Joe Burrow is not just involved. Like the guys on the field are not making these decisions. But it's got to be hard for him knowing like this is how I'm starting here, and now I got to go play for this team for the next 5 years. Like
he does not want to represent that team.
No, you don't want to represent a team. You're not going to want to play hard for that team. Like that's just what it comes down to. So it's really hard for him in that situation. But also the alternative is like, well, if he misses this season and then he misses next season too, that's really hard. And that takes away your stock. It takes away your ability to, I don't know, like you're 2 years into your career and you haven't played a snap in the NFL and you're going to miss 2 seasons. Like not a lot of teams are going to be taking more chances on that because there's another edge rusher in college that's coming out who's younger and just as talented.
So give me your thoughts on this one. This reminds me of the Dalton Connect situation where the Lakers traded him to the Hornets for Mark Williams. A couple days go by, trades rescinded. Now he's got to go back to LA in however many games this is after that trade rescind happened. He played 16 minutes a night, 8 points per game, basically didn't contribute, didn't play really at all in the playoffs, and now the Lakers are looking to trade him again. It's like the bridge is burned.
Yeah, but at least this guy's money.
Yes, it is different in that respect.
Yeah, what's he making too? He's making big money.
As a mid first round NBA pick, I have no clue what he's making. 3-4?
Crazy. That's so crazy.
How much is it?
Mid-round first pick, 4 years, 18.4 million.
Yeah, that's about what I thought.
That's Peyton Pritchard money. That's probably that's about what Peyton Pritchard's contract is, I think.
So the big thing with Shemar Stewart, which you did hint at here, if he doesn't sign this contract, he can re-enter the NFL draft in 2026. Now, it's kind of like the old college transfer portal rules, where if you do transfer, you have to sit out that year. If he gets drafted in 2026, he cannot play in 2026, but he could sign a contract with whatever team drafts him, and then he could play with them moving forward. I'm not sure what the deal would be with him going to like the CFL or the UFL. Some of the stuff that Caleb Williams' dad talked about with Seth Wickersham when they were trying to decide if they wanted the Bears to take him or did they want to go a different route. I don't know, but it is on the board. He never plays for the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing he probably wants to do is get paid, like, because he ain't gonna get paid for a year. That's the hard part.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't want to jump to any conclusions here, but just knowing what these guys normally do when they know they're getting drafted in the first round, probably bought a very nice suit for draft day, maybe a little chain, get mom and dad a gift, buy a house in Cincinnati, and now none of that money's there.
Yeah, maybe the agent support, and I don't know, or the family, whatever it is, but this is a really tough situation, sad situation, because when a kid gets drafted, you just want to see them succeed. You want to see them go in and play. And now, no matter what, it's tough because if he has to go somewhere else in the future, he misses 2 seasons. If he stays with the Bengals, like, your employer hates you. Like, you don't want to play for that employer because it's no different than, picture yourself in a normal corporate workplace and your boss freaking hates you and you got to show up every day and work. It's not, I wouldn't want to do that.
And the worst part about it is it could not have happened to a worse person from a football perspective because this guy was drafted, no offense to him, but almost, at least, let me rephrase, he was a first-round draft pick almost entirely off of athleticism, nothing to do with production. This is an edge rusher who never had more than 1.5 sacks in a season. So he, for his own sake, he's got to be on that football field, getting reps against NFL vets, learning technique from coaches, playing in games, new atmospheres, environments. More than anything, he needs experience. I'm not saying that time in the weight room is ever bad for a professional athlete, but that's like the one thing he had mastered. He was more athletic than Myles Garrett was. He's more athletic than every defensive end in the history of the NFL Combine. That's not what he needs right now, but it's all he's going to get because he can't go to practice without his contract.
And the Bengals know that. I do think the Bengals go about business in their way, which isn't good, but they go about it in a smart way. They have all their bases covered. Don't get me wrong, they need Shemar Stewart. But when you got Joe Burrow and you got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, like, you're going to put up points. You give up 40, you got to score 45.
So if they don't agree to terms with Shemar and they don't re-sign Trey Hendrickson, I just don't know what they're doing.
But they're still going to be a borderline playoff team. They're still going to have one of the best offenses in the NFL, and they're still going to probably be competitive because we saw it last year. The defense was horrendous last year. And if realistically, when you go back to last season, if you don't lose to the Patriots week 1 as a 7-point favorite when the offense didn't put any points up, Zach Taylor is a reckless OC too. Like, he is fourth down, too reckless on fourth down. If he just punted a few more times this year, I really do think the Bengals would have been in the playoffs.
The Bengals are 6th in Super Bowl odds, despite all of that at FanDuel. They are plus 1,800, which is the top 5 is the Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, Lions. They're all plus 1,000 or shorter. And then the Bengals are in a tier with the Rams, Commanders, Niners, Vikings, and Packers.
Yeah.
And then let me see. What are they in they're second in odds to win the AFC North, which makes sense because the Browns are awful and the Steelers not expecting much. But it's the Ravens at minus 130, which I might have to unload my entire savings account on. And then the Bengals at plus 200.
To win the North, yeah. So, I mean, Steelers, you never know with the Steelers, though. Like, you really don't know what they're going to bring. I mean, we know what the Browns are going to bring, but we don't know what the Steelers are going to do. You got Aaron Rodgers. Like, Aaron Rodgers is still capable of playing football in the NFL on a good team if he buys into the Mike Tomlin system. And, I think I liked about what Aaron Rodgers said the other day. He was talking about Will Howard, and he's like, I'm here to help Will get better. Like, that's my goal. I want to see Will succeed in the future. So he's like, I'm going to be with him all the time. I like that.
Yeah, worked out great for Zach Wilson. I saw a couple of funny tweets of Aaron Rodgers. One was him and his.
Wait. That's a rude statement. Like, Zach Wilson, it would have worked out for Zach Wilson probably if he didn't have to go in and play right away. Like, the goal was for Zach to sit and learn. It wasn't for him to be like, okay, Aaron Rodgers, go tear your Achilles and let's throw Zach Wilson back on the field.
That's true. We know Zach Wilson learns from his elders. He respects his elders.
He's a good dude. He does respect his elders. He likes the moms. He's a good dude. Zach Wilson's a good kid. I don't know why you pick on him. He's like, like the prime guy.
I saw a couple of funny tweets with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you saw them. One was him in his Steelers practice gear. And the caption was like, Aaron Rodgers throwing football in his 40s and Steelers gear is exactly the type of stuff you see in a Cialis commercial.
That's pretty funny. Twitter is undefeated. It will always be undefeated.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, I mean, I don't really have anything else to add on Shemar Stewart. I was just going to say I think he's doing the right thing, and we'll see what happens.
I'm ready to talk about some basketball, some hoops here. Got a big storyline developing in the NBA Finals. It will probably, I mean, it still could be Thunder in 6. Don't get me wrong. I think the series is headed 7 games now, but you got the Thunder at minus 230 to win the series, down 2-1. You got the Pacers at plus 190. Must-win game for the Thunder tonight. They're a 6-point favorite on the road against Indiana. This is a situation where the Thunder have not played well. Like, the Pacers have played well. The Pacers brought the intensity, but the Thunder have not brought it. Like, Shea has been locked down in this series. He has looked, shouldn't say he's been locked down, but like at least last game he was.
Yeah, last game Nembhard got the better of him.
That was the first time he was rattled. Even the first game though, Grant, he didn't shoot well. He scored a lot of points, but he wasn't efficient.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but I didn't feel like he played bad. Sometimes in the playoffs, the numbers, the efficiency goes out the window. It's more about like, are you controlling the game? And even though they lost, they were up 15 in the fourth quarter. It felt like Shea was still kind of in control of what was happening.
Well, game 3, he was locked down. He looked rattled. He was terrible in the fourth quarter. Like, that was the first time the spotlight was
also awful on defense.
Yeah, he was terrible the whole time. Like, that loss is on Shea.
Yeah, it was it's an interesting game. It's an interesting series to evaluate just because, I agree with you that the Pacers played better than the Thunder, but because the Thunder were such heavy favorites, a lot of people, and I'm not blaming you or grouping you into this, I'm just saying a lot of people are like, well, why aren't the Thunder doing what they're supposed to? Why are the Thunder playing poorly? And we're forgetting about the Pacers playing so well. And this is what I've been saying for this entire year when I've been saying that they're 50-15 in 2025 or whatever it is. Like, yeah, they're a small market team. They're the 4th seed. We don't really look at the Eastern Conference in the same light as we do the Western Conference. You just forget about them. Nobody on their team scored 20 points in the first 2 games in the series, but they have just continued to play so well. And it's always something. They're making their shots. Their defense in this series has actually been really good. TJ McConnell, Benedict Mathurin, and Obi Toppin off the bench in game 3. Like, this team, they just always find something. And the Thunder dominated game 1 up until the final 8 minutes, dominated game 2, back and forth in game 3 until the Indy pulled away in the 4th quarter. You can look at like the time spent leading chart and it'll heavily favor the Thunder here. But I'm going to say the Pacers deserve to be up 2-1 at this point.
Well, I look at game 1 too, and I don't equate that to Thunder really dominate that one. Like, the Thunder were leading, but they weren't dominating on the scoreboard. Like, you got to take more advantage of the turnovers. Game 2, obviously, went in favor of the Thunder. Game 3, this is one where when you're looking at it, Indiana played really well. I mean, 51% from the field. They were 33% from 3, not great, but the Thunder were 45% from there. You look at turnovers, pretty even across the board. Thunder had 5 more than them. Rebound-wise, Thunder did win that area. But, like, they were just creating mismatches. Like, Chet Holmgren's shooting 3-pointers that he really shouldn't shoot, but that was the shot that the Pacers were giving them. SGA being neutralized completely in the 4th quarter. Like, he found his kryptonite. And then the Thunder just, like, guys stepping up, like TJ McConnell stepping up, making plays. The first ever player was 10 points, 5 steals,
5 steals and 5 assists, I think.
5 assists, yeah. I mean, he was great. It's just a situation where I think the moment is not too big for the Pacers. And the Pacers have played in more big games than the Thunder have with their current roster. I think that's what we're seeing a little bit. I do think the Thunder respond and win game 4 and make this 2-2 back to OKC, but I think it's going 7 now.
Something that I jotted down in my mind when it happened was about 20-30 minutes before tip-off in game 1. You get the breaking news from Shams, from Underdog, lineup change. Cason Wallace to start in place of Isaiah Hartenstein, game 1 of the finals. And I was just thinking to myself, that's a little weird. Not that Cason Wallace is a bad player. Not that it's weird that he's starting. He started like 49 games or whatever it was for them during the regular season. But when is a team that has lost 4, they're 12-4 at that point in the playoffs, 2-0 against the Pacers during the regular season, best point differential or second best point differential in NBA history, one of the highest point differentials in the playoffs, totally dominant, minus 750 to win the series. Yet they're the ones changing their lineup before a single second has been played in that series. Normally it's let something happen, make the adjustment to it, plan for the counter, implement the counter. It was the Thunder who were reacting to the Pacers before the ball is dribbled one time. And it was just weird. That's not going to say that it was the wrong move, not questioning Mark Daigneault. That just should have been an indication. The Thunder themselves view this as a tougher challenge than it seems like the media and Vegas does.
Yeah. I mean, well, honestly, we saw it with the Knicks Celtics series. And don't get me wrong, the Celtics were horrendous. You blow 2 20-point leads. You lose your best player. You really don't play well. The moment looks too big for you. You get out coached. Now, were the Celtics 100% better? Yes. Like, everyone's going to say that. Were they minus 1,000 better when it opened or minus 900 better? Probably not. Like, that's just too big of a number in the NBA. Like, the sportsbooks have to do it for like liability purposes. But again, like, these are all professional athletes. Usually the better team's going to win over the course of that 7-game series. But were the Pacers, should they have been plus 500 or 600? Probably not. So that's the situation too, where these teams are definitely a little more even than the odds would suggest.
Yeah, I agree. So with all of that being said, in game 1, Pacers win. People are surprised. The Thunder are larger favorites in game 2, and they cover. Game 3, Pacers 5-point dogs, win outright. Now 6-point dogs Do the Thunder cover again? Or I know I saw your video about this. The Thunder are now 0-8 against the spread on the road in the playoffs. Where are you going here with this pick?
I mean, I'd probably take – it's probably no play for me again. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not betting on the series really that much. So I would say, yeah, OKC -6. If I got to pick, I'm taking OKC -6 if I got to pick. But I think they win their money line parlay team for me more so.
So I would agree with you. I'm not betting the spread. If I had to, I would take OKC -6. One prop that I haven't bet it yet personally, I might get there on it. It's Obi Toppin, 4.5 rebounds. And I want to pull his numbers up because this is something that I actually talked about with our friends at VSiN. I was looking at Toppin's rebound props against the Knicks because the Pacers were getting dominated so much on the boards that they needed somebody with some athleticism to go in, and Toppin provided that. And then when I saw how the Thunder were willing to downsize, take Hartenstein out, it's like, well, the Pacers are going to need that long physical wing, crash the boards. His line for game 4 here, over 4.5 rebounds, -106. He's gone over that every time in this series so far. He had 5 in game 1 and 2, 6 in game 3, playing 24 minutes a night, just played 28 minutes in game 3. So I will probably end up betting that later today.
I like that. I like that move out of you, Grant. My favorite prop, at least in the last game, it was Tyrese Haliburton over 30.5 on the PR. He basically did that with just the rebounds and the assists. So that's kind of where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I saw a boosted parlay, I believe, on Caesars, which was Shea 25 plus Haliburton double-double. And it was like plus 225, which isn't crazy, but it's still good value, I think, considering Shea should be a lock to get to 25. He's done it in 10 of his last 12. And then Haliburton has a double-double in 3 of his last 4. And it's not just the assist part anymore. He's actually been rebounding really well lately, too.
Imagine if you bet Tyrese Haliburton triple-double and you lose by 1 rebound.
Yeah, I would be pretty upset.
But anyways, Grant, who's going to win the series now, and how many games does it end before we wrap up the show?
Thunder. I said Thunder in 6 before the series started. I'll go Thunder in 7 now. But I would love it if the Pacers won. I will say that. I've been rooting for them for a while.
Yeah, Thunder in 7 is probably the move. If it goes 7, the Pacers are very much alive, though. But you know what? I'm going to take Thunder in 6. I'm going to take Thunder in 6.
I think they're winning 3 straight.
Gonna be the spark for him. Yeah, because you win this one, you go home, and then you can win game 6 on the road. I think Thunder in 6.
So teams that go up 2-1 win the NBA Finals 81% of the time. However, since the NBA switched to the 2-2-1-1-1, a lower seeded team that went up 2-1 has never won the finals. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it used to be 2-3-2, right?
Yep.
2-3-2 is such an advantage if you can.
You just got to steal one on the road, and that's it.
Steal one on the road, and then you're going back home up till game 5. And then, but I guess, too, though, the team with the higher seed gets to go home for the final 2, which is huge, like having 6 and 7 at home.
2-2-1-1-1 is definitely better.
Everyone does 2-2-1-1. Now, baseball, I don't think baseball does. Maybe.
Baseball just insists on being different. I mean, it's a different amount of games every round, and it's just nonsense.
I think baseball is 2-3-2. It's like I get thrown off now with hockey and all this. All right, League Championship Series, World Series are 2-3-2, which you kind of have to because that's what baseball is. Like, it's not standalone games, so I understand that a little more.
Yeah, everything's a lot more condensed.
Yeah. Anyways, that was Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. We talked about Antonio Brown. We talked about Shemar Stewart. We talked about NBA Finals. We're going to talk some Stanley Cup moving forward. So make sure if you guys like hockey, if you like basketball, if you like NFL news, you subscribe to the pod. And Grant takes us out of here.
Guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line. Like Tanner said, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Go to WSN.com if you're into sports betting at all, and we will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.